The public workforce system is a network of federal, state, and local offices that function to support economic expansion and develop the talent of our nation's workforce. The system works in partnership with employers, educators, and community leaders to foster economic development and high growth opportunities in regional economies. This system exists to help businesses find qualified workers to meet their present and future workforce needs. WorkSource Oregon is the name under which workforce partners in Oregon deliver services. WorkSource Oregon centers are Oregon's public access points to qualified workers, as well as federal, state, and local resources and assistance. Centers have multiple resources for businesses and job seekers under one roof. The typical one-stop center serves thousands of individuals who are seeking employment, changing jobs, re-entering the workforce, or learning new skills. The statewide workforce system is huge and comprised of diverse communities and local areas, rural, urban, metro, multi- and single-county workforce areas. However, at the core of every service we provide is the business and the job seeker. The mission of WorkSource Oregon is to effectively respond to workforce challenges through high-quality services to individuals and businesses, resulting in job attainment, retention, and advancement. The workforce system is primarily funded through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or WIOA, which was signed into law in July of 2014. WIOA brings together in strategic coordination the core programs of the workforce investment system under one law. The law contains 4 separate titles that apply to the various programs we will discuss today. Title I of WIOA is for workforce development activities, administered by the Higher Education Coordinating Commission's Office of Workforce Investments. Title I supports talent development, job creation, income progression, business competitiveness, and expanded opportunities for citizen prosperity. Services are provided to adults, dislocated workers, and youth. The majority of youth served are low income, with complex barriers to employment. Youth services connect participants to career opportunities, training, and one-on-one support in order to prepare them for post-secondary education and career ladder employment. Title II of WIOA is for adult education and literacy, administered by the Higher Education Coordinating Commission's Office of Community Colleges and Workforce Development. Title II is comprised of the adult education and literacy programs for Oregon's 17 community colleges, which are an essential component of the education and workforce system. The purpose of the Adult Basic Skills program is to assist adults in obtaining the knowledge and skills necessary for work, further education, family self-sufficiency, and community involvement. Title III is the Public Labor Exchange, administered by the Oregon Employment Department. It supports economic stability for Oregonians and communities during times of unemployment through the payment of unemployment benefits. It serves businesses by recruiting and referring qualified applicants to jobs, provides resources to diverse job seekers in support of their employment needs, and develops and distributes quality workforce and economic information to promote informed decision-making. Title IV is the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which is administered by Vocational Rehabilitation at the Department of Human Services. It helps individuals with disabilities to acquire the skills they need to be successful in the workplace. State agencies receive money from the federal government and then must decide how to best invest the money in local areas throughout Oregon. The Oregon Workforce Investment Board, known as OWIB, is the overall advisory board to the governor on workforce matters. It is made up of leaders representing private sector businesses, labor, state, local governments, and government agencies. At least half of OWIB's membership must come from the private sector. The board is tasked with developing a single unified state plan for the statewide workforce investment system. It also assists the governor in developing Oregon's workforce system and recommends the duties and responsibilities of state agencies in implementing federal workforce regulations. Local workforce development boards determine the workforce priorities and monetary investments that will be made in their area. Local boards are designated to develop local workforce plans and direct and prioritize funding towards workforce development activities. They convene economic development and other partners to create resources for workforce development activities in response to the needs of job seekers and local businesses. The local boards, as neutral independent brokers of workforce services, purchase contracted workforce services that are provided through the WorkSource centers to support talent development, job creation, income progression, business competitiveness, and expanded opportunities for citizen prosperity. Local workforce boards provide a convening table for labor, economic development, elected officials, education, workforce development, and human service providers to efficiently address local labor market needs and statewide priorities. They lead employer engagement to promote business representation, develop linkages, implement effective strategies, and ensure workforce investments support the needs of employers. At the local level, local leadership teams are the mechanism used to manage the implementation of the local WorkSource Oregon system. Local leadership teams may consist of local board staff, OED managers, center managers, contracted service provider management and staff, and representatives from engaged partners and stakeholders, such as the Department of Human Services and community colleges. Local leadership teams address both systems and operational topics related to service delivery issues and improvements. They implement and coordinate different programs and initiatives as they relate to center activities. For instance, they coordinate workshop offerings, resource room activities, and business recruitment services. They are also involved in the implementation of sector strategies, local sector partnerships, and local area strategic plans as they relate to center functions. Local leadership teams also serve as a communication mechanism between regional, local area, and center levels. Some multi-county areas have multiple levels of local leadership teams. Let's review. Money comes down from the federal government to the state agencies. State agencies then invest that money locally, either through staff, grants, or contractors. The Oregon Workforce Investment Board helps guide how that money is invested for the state. Local workforce boards determine how it is invested in each area, and local leadership teams determine how to implement services within local WorkSource centers. Let's look at a real-world example. The workforce system divides the state into 9 different areas, and the reason is simple. Each region of Oregon is different, with different priorities, problems, and economies. As an example, East Cascades Workforce Board determines the workforce priorities for the entire Central Oregon area. However, there are still 3 different local economies within that area. For instance, the Gorge area shares a labor pool with the state of Washington. The Bend area has high tourism and construction activity, where Klamath and Lake counties are more rural and agricultural. East Cascades has 3 different local leadership teams that are able to take the priorities for the entire area and translate them into meaningful services in each of the WorkSource centers. Rogue Valley, on the other hand, only needs 1 local leadership team because their region only has 2 counties and is economically more similar. But whatever their size, local workforce development boards convene local partners to determine the industry sectors that are central to their local economies. The board then convenes local businesses to determine and address the needs of their industry sectors. Sector initiatives, also called sector partnerships, are regional employer-driven partnerships of industry, education and training, and other stakeholders that focus on workforce needs of key industries in a regional labor market. Businesses form the base for sector work. Small, large, new, and established businesses come together to set the priorities for the sector. Often workforce needs are main priorities, yet other priorities can emerge and be addressed by the support members of the partnership. Sector partnerships align education and training programs with industry needs to produce readily employable workers. For each identified sector partnership, there is a convener, often the Workforce Development Board, industry members, and strategic partners. Sector initiatives rely on workforce intermediaries, conveners, to engage employers and other key stakeholders, to develop expertise in the industry of focus, and to coordinate information and resources to develop and implement effective, coordinated responses. Sector initiatives frequently inform the services directly offered to businesses and individuals in WorkSource centers. But who exactly works at WorkSource Oregon, and what do they do? There are 4 main partners in WorkSource Oregon centers, but the actual makeup of the people located within each center is determined locally. However, each center must have staff from the Oregon Employment Department and the contracted service provider of the local workforce board. The Oregon Employment Department and contracted service provider within WorkSource centers help customers learn new skills, find employment, and progress in careers, while also assisting employers with recruitment and retention of qualified, skilled employees. The services provided by the Department of Human Services, DHS, in WorkSource offices vary in different parts of the state. Regardless of location, here are just a few of the services that DHS offers under the WorkSource Oregon network. Vocational rehabilitation services are basic services provided to individuals whose disabilities present societal challenges to employment. Self-sufficiency programs are also offered to WorkSource Oregon customers in the form of the Job Opportunity and Basic Skills Program and the Oregon Food Stamp Employment and Training Program. Both of these programs help assist SNAP and TANF recipients to transition quickly as possible from dependence on public assistance to employment. In addition to being a training resource to individuals and businesses, community colleges also provide the Adult Basic Skills Program. The purpose of the Adult Basic Skills Program is to assist adults in obtaining the knowledge and skills necessary for work, further education, family self-sufficiency, and community involvement. Basic skills include reading, writing, math, speaking and listening in English, GED, and adult high school preparation, and basic computer literacy. While each of these entities may have their own mission, vision, and values, the mission, vision, and values of WorkSource Oregon have been developed to speak on behalf of the broader workforce system. At the end of the day, all these partners are working together to provide services that connect employers with the talent they need to operate a competitive business and job seekers to meaningful employment.